Thursday at Gulfstream Park, it is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
And welcome in. It's in-game live game day and a wild, wacky, weird Wednesday. Scott Wetzel, Dave Sharapan for the next 2 glorious hours as we take into 10 p.m. Eastern time. After my battle with the insurance companies today, Dave, I must say I need my fix. Everyone has their fixes. You know, some it's alcohol, some it's drugs, some it's women, some it's guys. Mine is gambling. Like I said, after going back and forth 5,000 times with 2 insurance companies, I need a fix tonight. So I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's women's Division III volleyball. I'm betting on it tonight. Let's go. Let's make some money. How you doing tonight?
All right. I'm great. Our pre-show meeting. Learn something new about you every day that I do this show with you. And now we're doing it 5 days a week. You can definitely, there's people watching the show all over the world right now. And in a lot of places, it's absolutely freezing cold. Where you're at especially. And talked about wanting to go and hang out in the mountains and be outside in the cold. I never would have guessed it. I never would have guessed that you wanted to be hanging out. So after your battle with insurance companies, would you like to be out in a mountain somewhere, just hanging out, looking over lines, maybe coming up with a Black Cloud play of the night or a same game parlay or something?
I don't know if I'd want to do it now. I'm a summer mountain man. I'm a winter in-home in front of the fireplace man. Summertime, yes. Wintertime, I don't like the cold. I hate the cold.
No.
So I'll watch movies about mountain men in the wintertime. And then I'll, maybe then do it in the summertime. But I also don't like snakes and bugs and different things. So it's got to be like the fall. No, so it's got to be fall where those things tend to go away. Maybe a little spring. It's not too bad. So it's only a couple of months of the year I can be a mountain man.
Yeah, I did one camping trip. No, I did one camping trip when I was in Weeblos before Boy Scouts.
Oh, there you
that
go.
Was the level before, right? The Weeblos, and we went up and it was a winter trip, and we stayed in a really cold place, and we did one trip in the winter, and we couldn't leave the cabin because it was so cold. And we went outside and got firewood, and I thought, you know what? I don't ever have to do this in my house. Like this is crazy. I didn't really enjoy it. And then the summer trip we took, we slept outside in tents, and raccoons knocked down all the tents. And that was my 2 experiences. I was about 11 or 12 years old that year, and that was the last time. I haven't been since.
That was it, huh?
If I go winter camping with you or Vinny or summer camping, you guys are going to have to do everything. I don't fish. I'll hang out with you while you fish. I've done that. But no, I'm a city guy. I'm a city. I like
you don't
the city.
fish even?
I don't touch nothing. Nope. I'll go. It's like going with a date. Yeah, if we go fishing, you'll bait the hook, you'll take it off the hook. I don't touch nothing. I don't like that stuff. I don't like the worms. No. I had an experience deep sea fishing once. Everyone on the boat got sick. Every person on the boat got sick. It was rough. The waters were rough. I'm not a fisherman either. So, there's a lot of things that I
did that
do.
one time.
That stuff is no good for me. You like to fish. You'll go sit on a boat or a dock or something and sit all day and wait for your
yeah, I would not a boat. Not
no.
Well, I mean, I lived in a lake, so that I didn't. But we went out one time when I was in Chicago. Went on Lake Michigan, and the guy took us out on his not a speedboat, but a boat like that, right? So me, my son, my buddy, and his son, and this one other guy. And I found out, not that I didn't know beforehand, but it just reaffirmed that I get seasick. I get seasick easily. And I got to tell you, that is the worst. I can't put into words how bad. I couldn't move, Dave. They had a big bucket in front of me. I'm throwing up into the bucket to the point where it was just dry heaves because I had nothing in my stomach. And I was throwing up for 2 hours. It is the worst. You didn't want to move. It was just like, horrible.
Oh, boy.
Horrible.
Yeah,
so,
no good.
Never again.
Well, I mean, something we could talk about in transition from that to tonight's basketball. I mean, do you want to take Utah plus the points tonight against Oklahoma City? That would make you sick. I don't think that's enough points. I don't know. That game's getting ready to start. OKC, arguably best team in the NBA, along with either Cleveland or Boston, laying a gigantic number, Wetzel, against Utah. That's not. I'm not taking that hook. I don't want that one. Do you?
Oh, look at that. Nice. How about that? The little hook. You're not taking the bait on 16.5, huh? Would you be surprised if I told you that the Utah Mountain Men Jazz are 12-4 against the spread their last 16 games? So they are one of, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. They're one of the best. Impressive. I was telling this to Ranieri. They're one of the best against the spread teams in the NBA. Like, if you go to top 11 teams, 5 are like the dredges of the NBA. Portland, Utah. I don't think Charlotte's in there. Oh, yeah, Charlotte. Washington is not in there. But, like, the Brooklyn, just the worst of the worst. And they're all, like, one of the best. That's how crazy the NBA is. So, I didn't do that. You know what I did? I took the over. I like the over a lot. Utah, 15-6 over. Jazz are last 21 games. Oklahoma City, 6-1 over their last 7.
Nice.
Now you're going to need a partner in here. You know, you're going to need Utah to do, come up with 110 points. I mean, it's a big number, 231.5. And you're going to have a motivated OKC team. But I think we get that tonight. I like the over out of all the plays.
It's crazy. The books in Vegas must be watching the show. They just went to 15.5 right now, right before the game. So some late money just moved that number down. Well, then you were mentioning Charlotte. Charlotte's playing Memphis tonight. You're talking about over the total in the OKC game. What about over the total gigantic number in the Memphis-Charlotte game? 242 for the total.
That's crazy.
It's not as high of a point spread, 12 or 11.5. I love Memphis. I think Memphis can make noise and actually get to the Western Conference Finals. I really like the way they're playing right now. I'd be more apt to lay the points with Memphis here. And I don't know, 242. I think we'll see 250 at some point in the first quarter if this game starts fast.
Yeah. 9-2 over, last 11 between the two teams. Now, again, I don't think very many of those were in the 240s like they are tonight, but just to give you a sense that there is a history of high-scoring games. And I mentioned Charlotte, right? 5-1-1 against the spread their last 7. Biggest waste of human flesh east of the Mississippi, and all they do is cover the spread. It's just because these numbers are so crazy.
They're so high.
Now, 12's,
yeah.
12's not too bad when you compare it to 16 and 14 and 15 like we've been getting in some of these games, but Memphis is just great against the spread as well. 25-10 their last 35 games. So I would go with the over, and if you had to, I would grab Memphis. But we've talked about it, right? Charlotte was favored in Utah. They were they basically pick them against Chicago. I don't know what's gotten into them lately.
Right. When we come back from the break, we got to talk about Cleveland and Houston. Now, that's a game that's coming up. That's not a big spread. Two really good basketball teams. I'm interested to see, if you want to put that one on the hook, we'll reel that one in after the break. See what I'm doing here?
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Sit down and have a little bait and hook action in Game 5 on a Wednesday.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Dave checking out the NBA to start off our Wednesday evening. Headline game, Cleveland, the Cadavers at the Houston Rockets. Moment of truth for Houston. Cleveland, it's just another bump on the road and on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals probably. But they're getting basically pick them. It is down to 1.5, and the game just tipped off. But before tip-off, it was 2.5 this afternoon, Dave, which I thought was low. but down to 1.5 it went. Everyone's betting Houston, I imagine. Not me. You see 2 there now. I like Cleveland. I mean, 19-3 their last 22 games. Listen, Houston is good, but only 3-8 against the spread. Their last 11 at home. They've kind of come back to the pack here a little bit. They're playing mediocre basketball. Give me Cleveland. There's always reasons to doubt this team, but they always end up winning. So give me the Cadavers.
I agree. I mean, you see it right there, 19-3 straight up in their last 22 games. Pre-game 1.5 essentially is straight up. So a little bit light on the point spread, but these NBA lines have to be light on the point spread on the road teams when they're favorites, although against really bad teams, they're over-adjusted. So, yes, Houston being – I would argue that Houston's probably the surprise team of the year, where they're at and what they've done so far, like legit, third in the Western Conference, essentially. I get it, but I think what they've done is win almost all of the games they're supposed to. Tonight's a much, like you said, it's more of a measuring stick for Houston, and Cleveland just keeps chugging along, number 1 seed, winning the games in the East, going on these road trips and winning games. Pre-game, I like Cleveland. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure there'll be opportunities back and forth. Cleveland's up 13-8. The first quarter just started. I'm sure there'll be an opportunity to jump in on Cleveland plus points when Houston's leading, but by the time we get to the end of the show, I think Cleveland prevails.
Yeah. Little feast or famine in the NBA tonight with some over-unders. They're either very high or very low right now. We'll start with the low. There's not much interest in my end from Phoenix and Brooklyn. But that said, Kevin Durant back in town. It's 31-22. The Nets are already thinking Cooper Flag here, right? Over-under is 195.5. When's the last time you saw an over-under 195.5? The dopey Nets, who played last night, gave it their all, blew a game against the Knicks. I figured they would be shot. I just couldn't pull the trigger, laying 7.5 on Phoenix. They're up 9. They're laying 16.5 now. I mean, this has got 115-85 written all over it.
Crazy. The game closed. The game closed 2-16. So you're seeing with the bad teams, this is one of those things that I used to have to do in the room for the in game. You have to over-adjust quickly. When you realize they're not going to be competitive, there's no inching that down from 216 to 213 to 211 to 209. You're moving it by fives. You're going, all right, 216, we're going right to 210. And then, down, down, down. I don't think we're even at the bottom yet. I mean, this might be 190. I don't want to say by the end of the quarter. This might be 190 in 5 minutes. If
193 now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Well, they're watching the show too, so we appreciate you guys watching the show. That's good. Yeah, you better get it now. I don't know what the buy point is if you want to, play with fire a little bit. And I mean, you are a mountain man, so maybe you do like to play with fire. Yeah. 190.
Nets have 24 points in a quarter and a half. 24 in a quarter and a half.
When teams
if I
put up
get
less
the
than 20 in the NBA, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
They did it the other night in 3 quarters. They put up less than 20 points in 3 of the 4 quarters.
That was that the Clipper game when they only put up 67 points? Yeah. So they're capable.
16,
you think sooner or later.
14 and 12 were the numbers they put up in 3 quarters. That's ridiculous.
The under I really like. Well, I like 3 unders. 2 a little bit later on that we'll get to. And 1 is already underway, which, we kind of missed the boat. Pardon the pun, little fishing. We're doing fishing and camping tonight.
I like it. Yeah.
So Dallas leads the Teacups 30-24. Second quarter, over-under is 201.5. It was right around 214, 213, I think, 212. Strong under trends there for both clubs, you see. But I don't know about 200. I can't go under 200. That's unfortunately a little too low for me. But I did like that.
Jeez, that game closed 213.
Yeah.
That was higher too. Like another one that I think this might be one of those nights. A lot of the games go under, huh? At least the early games, and then maybe we'll catch some overs later. Although I don't know, Boston and the Clippers. That one I think we should go over. We'll get to those in a little while.
Utah leads OKC 16-10. OKC still laying 12.5. What's the buy-in number, and how long do you think it would take to get to that buy-in number with this game on OKC?
6:45 left in the first quarter, up 6. Buy point for sure. If you get to 7.5, I mean, there's going to be a lot of OKC money. I think single digits is good. It's going to be single digits in the next couple minutes. I mean, the Jazz just scored 18-10, so that should bump it down. It did, 10.5. We get one more basket, this thing's going to be 9.5 or 8.5. Time to play it. I mean, it's the NBA. It's 18-10. It means that's surprising that they're going to give you a free shot at half the price, right? This thing closed 16. I wouldn't move it below. Yeah, I wouldn't move it below 8.5 or 10.5 even right now. First quarter.
FanDuel's holding steady at 12.5. They won't budge.
Yeah,
they won't budge.
I got 10.5 here.
243.5 for Grizz.
That's good. That's good.
It's
already up.
The underplay in hockey was Devils and Bruins. You could still play it.
Yes, sir.
5.5. 1-1 early second period. 5.5. Play the under. Big numbers on Devil under. I'll tell you when we come back.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live. Game day here on the grid. Supplying some winners in-game live. Also some winners, hopefully. Keep your fingers crossed for future games later on tonight. The subject of our SGP. All right, let's head to the ice. Not that many games actually starting, past this 8:30 Eastern time mark today. It's kind of weird, at least not in the NHL and NBA, where I like to usually put my SGP. So let's go to the ice. We got a good game. Florida Panthers at the LA Kings. The Kings struggling a little bit, I will say. They've lost 4 of their last 5, but I'm going to use that in our favor because their last game was a home loss, a bad one too, 4-1. I forget who they played, but they got their ass kicked, right? So let's play. Penguin, that's right. Yeah, dopey Penguins. So let's go LA Kings. Why? Because they have not lost back-to-back home games in successive games this season. They are one of the best home teams in the NHL, 11-2, last 13 at home. You wouldn't think LA, but they are. So give it to Kings -120 to start our 4-legger. Got to go with under 5.5 LA, Florida. This has got 2-1, 3-1 written all over it. I don't think we're getting 6 goals here tonight. We're going to go Kevin Fiala, 3 shots on goal. He averages 3. We got to lay a little juice, -140. Thank you very much. And then we'll go Anze Kopitar, 1 assist, +118. He's one of the main guys for the Kings. I think, it's going to be a low-scoring game, so we're going to need that top line, second line to do some damage, but I think he gets at least 1 assist. I must say, I made this mistake, and even though I'm an experienced professional gambler for 30-plus years, no one's greater, right? We all know that. But
of course,
I said, Kopitar, +118 for a point. Let me have that. Give me the point. Okay, let's go. Then when I put it in, I realized, it's an assist, which is like, all right, it would suck if he scored a goal. So be careful when you put these things in. They do offer points and assists. And obviously, if it's an assist, you get a little better odds. So +118. Add it all up, 10-1, +1032 on a little SGP.
So this is good news because yesterday I was opposite your same game parlay, and it did get there, and I felt bad because I was like, I like the other side, and when the result, I was rooting against it because I didn't bet it. You put it out on the show and do the same game parlay. I'm rooting for you. But today, we didn't talk before other than our camping talk and things like that. And I came on in the old school King stuff. I mean, this is the old school King stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Purple
Bernie
and
Nichols.
gold. Oh, Bernie Nichols, the Luc Robitaille, Marcel Dion, all that.
Yeah.
Charlie Simmer back in the day. I mean, that
Simmer,
team. Yeah, those were fun teams to watch. And the old school Kings. So I'm Kings top to bottom. Yeah, pre-Gretzky, all of that.
Definitely pre-Gretzky.
So they win. I think they win. I like that in the home games. Wow. So they're 12-2 in their last 14 home games versus the Panthers. That's 14 years because they only play them once. So that's a little bit misleading of a team trend. I mean, our producer, Matty G, was probably in kindergarten when that happened 14 years ago. I mean, he's a young kid. That's a long time. I don't know about that trend. But I like the Kings tonight. If the Kopitar thing gets you, boy, that's going to be a hell of a story. We'll have to throw another log on the fire for that one. If he scores a goal and doesn't get an assist, or scores 2 goals and doesn't get an assist, I mean, we'll have a story for a while. That will be one we'll talk about while we're sitting on the dock fishing. I like it.
Yeah, that sitting around the bonfire there. Yeah, we'd have to have a couple of whiskeys if that happens. That's for sure. Yeah. And I was gonna kick it out because I didn't quite hit click yet. But then it was like, okay, if I don't do it, then you know what? I'm gonna put the point in there at less odds, and then he's gonna end up getting an assist, and I'm gonna be kicking myself because my parlay would have gone from 10-1 to probably 6-1. So it's just like, all right, you make a mistake, last thing a gambler ever wants to do is correct your mistake. You got to live with it. It is.
Said it for years.
That's how it works.
Ticket comes out of the machine at the book in Vegas on the ticket paper, and you go, "Oh, I messed up." No, you didn't. Just get another ticket. Don't keep that one because a lot of times, even at the track, you ever bet horses? Same thing. Just get more money. Keep that ticket. It comes out for a reason. By the way, the Devils scored to make it 2-1. 14 minutes to go in the second period. So it's 2-1 Devils. I like the Devils in the game. Hopefully we win that one 4-1. I told Peralt today 4-1 final.
All right. Columbus 1-0 over Toronto. Not bad. Mark Zeno coming up next.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Dave for another hour and a half or so as we welcome in Sports Grid hosts. You see him all the time here on the Grid, and I am assuming fellow mountain man. Unfortunately, West Virginia's not on the schedule tonight, but you look like you'd be with me. You know, while Dave is up in the cabinet there drinking his little wine and everything, you and I would be on the course, sucking down some whiskey inside a flask and going down the skis and on the toboggans and everything else. I'm guessing you're a mountain. Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm guessing you're a mountain guy, Mark.
Like skiing, you mean mountain guy? Like, is that
camping, skiing, camping, fighting bears, barehanded?
I have this argument with people all the time, okay? And they just don't get me. Like, there's a difference between what I can do, what I have to do, and what I would do, right?
Oh,
like
I like this.
So
hold on, let me.
Look, if we're going camping, okay, if the 3 of us are going camping and Sharapan pulls up in a nice RV mobile home with a bed and a water and a microwave and a blanket, you know where I'm staying?
What's wrong with that?
You know I'm staying? In the mobile home.
In the camper.
Yeah.
Now, if there was no mobile home and I was stuck in the woods, could I sleep on the ground and survive the night and do all that stuff? Sure, but I don't have to. And if I don't have to, I'm not going to. This isn't a question of, there's no reason for me to experience discomfort. I don't have to live the suck for the sake of the suck. I've done that, and it's not fun. So if someone's bringing a nice camper with a bed and an indoor toilet and, running water and everything else and a refrigerator, I'm going to go in there. But,
warmth.
Yep. If it breaks down 50 miles before we get there, and when Dave shows up because he walked the last 35 miles by himself and says, sorry, guys, camper's out here. Okay. Sleeping on the ground, we'll figure it out because I can figure it out, but I don't have to.
But you've done it in the heat. I mean, you've shared the pictures with me. I've seen you back in the day when you had to do it in the desert. Do you prefer the heat or the cold if we're going to do it? Because I'm a summer guy.
It's so much easier to stay cool when it's hot than it is to warm up when you're freezing. You know, like so I'd rather just give me 130. I'm fine. I could sit in that all day. That doesn't bother me.
All right.
I got to tell you, when I was my second tour, you know what I used to do? I was bored. You know, like on Sundays when it got quiet, you know, and it wasn't really, it was like low level work days. I used to go to the roof of my building and just lay on top of it and suntan for like an hour. Put a pair of headphones on, go up there, take a nap. Yeah, that was your tax dollars for work day, guys. Just want you to know that.
Oh man. Well,
right.
I mean, I don't even know where to go from there. Do we go? Do you have a play tonight? Like, I mean, if you're laying out there in the sun and you're thinking of something,
meditating,
is there an NBA play? Or is there a college basketball play? Where are you at right now?
We're a little bit. I don't want to get too excited about the college card here this evening, but let's just take a look at some of these games about to tip off in the next, let's call it 30 minutes here. USC, Nebraska. Nebraska, I mean, you want to talk about a desperate team right now. They've lost 4 in a row, including last time out at home against Rutgers that snapped, I think, their 20-game home win streak that spanned 2 years. But they are in deep trouble right now. And this is a USC team I played on last week when they were at home against Iowa. But look at the travel schedule for USC. 10 days ago, they were out in Indiana, Illinois. Granted, they won a game out there. Good for them. But then they go home. Now they're back out on a plane, flying out to Nebraska again in what feels like a must-win spot. It's a fat number for the Cornhuskers here. Like, if that's at 6.5, I'd be very, very hesitant. But if you get a 6 out there, I'd be willing to lay it at this point with Nebraska. USC shooting takes a little bit of a dip on the road, obviously, as most teams do. But I think that there's a spot there where Nebraska can win this thing. You want to talk about desperation. Anybody seen Arkansas and John Calipari as of late? Listen,
oh, boy.
I was quoted about 10 days ago as saying, I've seen terrorists shoot better than Arkansas does. And that's how bad their offense has been as of late. 0-5 in conference play. And here's the rub. Here's the thing on Arkansas, and you got to pay attention to this, because if they don't win tonight, I'm absolutely playing on them on Saturday at home against Oklahoma. Have you seen their schedule after this? After Oklahoma this week, Kentucky, Texas, Alabama, LSU, they got a shot to win, but A&M, Auburn, Missouri, Texas, they might not have a conference win until the end of February. If they don't win one of these 2 games this weekend, they could be bagel in the win column in conference play. The end of February. You think Cal's okay with that? I know they're missing their best player. What's his face? The point guard is out. Why is his name escaping me? Somebody help me out here. But nonetheless, it's Boogie Fland. Nonetheless, I still have to play on them in this spot. There is such a level of desperation for Arkansas tonight, laying a short number against a Georgia team that's pretty up and down and inconsistent. So I'm willing to ride one more time or 2 more times if they don't win tonight with the Razorbacks to think that they'll get it home in the final in their next home game. And then finally tonight, purely situational travel schedule here. The Cal Bears plus 2.5 against Florida State.
Love that one.
Those 2 teams have only met once in their history. It was in November of 2008. It was in Las Vegas, a game that Cal lost to Florida State. Now, Florida State has played 4 road games this year, none of them further than LSU. They have lost 3 of them. The only win they have on the road is against lowly Miami. They were just winning 2 games at home. Now they got to fly all the way out to Berkeley. And this is a Florida State team. Shooting, particularly 3-point shooting, takes a massive dip on the road. You're talking about 29% from 3 on the road this year for just their 5th road game. Cal is not a great shooting team, and offensively sometimes they struggle, but situationally here I'm willing to play against Florida State and take the 2.5 at home with Cal with a little sprinkle down on that money line.
What do you think about Florida coming back against South Carolina right now? I'm looking at this thing.
South Carolina first half. I played South Carolina first half, so I stopped watching, and I don't care. I genuinely don't. But this is the thing with South Carolina. The problem is, and we've seen this before with them, they did this to Auburn, right? They had a lead at halftime, and then what happened?
Lost.
Just too much offense from the other side. Too much offense, and they don't have the offensive, aptitude to be able to continue to push and score at the same rate. So they're relying on their defense for a full 40 minutes in a Florida team that may overcome. Look, I don't know that Florida's covering the 10.5 or 11.5, whatever it was.
No.
But Florida was live on the money line. Yeah, absolutely. I'd go grab them. I grabbed St. John's live at half on the money line. I'm sorry, not on the money line. I took them 3.5 live at halftime.
Okay.
St. John's, I think, has covered 9 of the last 10 second halves. Like, they have been a second half wagon this year. I don't play them on the first half. Don't like to play them full game. They're probably not going to cover the 7, bigger number than what I thought against Xavier tonight. But I love them live, and I would even take them live now if you're getting sort of even money. Or they might
2-1 right now, plus 200, or plus 3.5, plus 110, plus the 3.5 points. They're down 58-53 with 7 minutes to go. Yeah. Okay.
Split the unit on the plus 3.5, and then on the money line. And worst case scenario, you break even. But yeah, I mean, it's a 5-point game now with 7 minutes left. And the Johnnies have been better at the Garden this year than they were last year. A lot better.
I'll tell you who's great second half, and they're doing it again tonight, is Kansas. Man, you look at – I know they lost their last game, but you look at their last 3-4 games, second half, they just completely shut down teams.
Yeah.
They held who was it, Cal? I think it was. No, Arizona State to like 17, 13 points, one game, few games back. TCU is leading tonight. They've got 15 points in 13 minutes of the second half. They're kind of weird, that Kansas team, Mark, but when they turn it on, they were down double digits. Now they're up double digits on the defensive side.
Now, some of the better teams exert themselves over 40 minutes of basketball, right? You have to be really weary about how some of these games unfold, because the better teams, especially the better offensive teams, when you start to get deeper into that second half and the defense is weary from guarding so hard and so heavy for the first 20 minutes, they get softer legs, man. Shots start falling and runs start coming for the other guys. It's just, it's a bad recipe sometimes. So I'm always willing to cut a game in half.
You want to hold on, talk a little NBA on the other side? You got some NBA plays? All right, cool. We'll do that with Mark Zino here. So full slate of NBA, full slate of college basketball. Got a number of games, Celtics and Clippers to get to. And how about Golden State? Well, you talk about a team that is struggling. That is the Warriors. Losing by 40 their last game. Will they bounce back against the Sacramento Queens? We'll get Mark's thoughts.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets and when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Dave talk with Mark Zito, SportsGrid hosts. See him all the time here on the Grid. Little NBA talk, before we get to the games that haven't begun yet. Mark, how about a couple that have? Anything jump off the page that you liked? It's going well, maybe going poorly, or just you just like from this point on?
Yeah, listen, I think the Hawks trailing by 18 at half was probably less than what they expected, but I would think they would get back in this game. I think, if you look at their team total at this point in time for an over that was set at 234 in that range, give or take a point and a half, whatever it may be, before tip-off, I think the Hawks get back in this one, especially if you might even be getting double digits. I mean, the Hawks are only laying 2.5 of the game, but if you have the Hawks getting double digits, I have every faith in them to get right back in this thing.
Plus
this is
10.5 right now, Zin. Plus 10.5.
That's the way I would look at this point in time. Either that or just take the Hawks team total over. The only danger is you have to with doing that is if the Hawks start flat and it opens up to an even bigger lead, guess what? They're pulling up. Everybody's pulling up, and the pace will just die. But I don't think that'll be the case for the Hawks. I think, as good as they are at home and as consistent as they've been at home over the years, that Trae Young and company will get back in this thing.
They do play tomorrow, too. That's not a bad thought, Mark. Especially playing tomorrow. If they come out slow third quarter, that could be it.
That's what you got to worry. I mean, if they get right back in, and think of it this way: if they get right back in it, they have to hustle all the way back and have a come from behind win. We fade them tomorrow. That's what we do.
I like that. Who they playing tomorrow? Toronto. Geez, they're already 10-point favorites at home.
Wow. Toronto's absolutely abysmal south of the border.
Goodness gracious. They're good home
team. And Justin Trudeau probably both quit.
Celtics at the Clippers. Scott mentioned it. The Celtics are on a 4-game winning streak. The Clippers, I don't know. Jekyll and Hyde, one of those things. I mean, even the producers are jumping on Celtics stuff. It's fun to bet the Celtics. Look, Drew Holiday player points over 10.5, even money for the producers in the back. Side total or anything in this one?
I mean, at this rate, how can you lay these kind of numbers with Boston, right? Like let's just go to their last 7 games, minus 10.5, minus 11.5, minus 14.5, minus 14, minus 15, minus 9.5, minus 9. They only covered 2, they're 3 and 4, but again, It's just like, and it's crazy because you just have to get this game script to develop to cover that number where, just like I said, they're out to such a big lead that the other team just mails it in for the whole fourth quarter. Says we're not getting involved in this. But I'm not. I can't sit there in good faith and continue to lay these big numbers with Boston and go, this makes a ton of sense. Like I would just go to an alternate market then and just look at their team total, see if I can get them to go over that, or even if it's too high, play it under. Because again, look, in some of these big spreads, like they covered against Denver, it's 10.5, only scored 118, right? I mean, it's not like they're scoring 130 and covering. And some of these games are losing outright.
The Lakers tomorrow too. They play at the Lakers tomorrow. They used to stay in the same building and play in the same building, and now with this Intuit Dome, so it's different buildings. So you can't even say,
it's really
only
hopeful.
5 tomorrow. They're only 5 tomorrow.
Lakers. What you hope for is for. If they're only 5 tomorrow, you kind of hope that they get smoked tonight and get beat. Maybe the number drops even a little bit more, and then they have a rebound. But if they win big, that number is probably going to balloon to 6 or 7. And for me, once you get past that second possession, you get to 7, which is sometimes a key number in the NBA if you kind of do the studies and everything else. That's where I start to get uncomfortable.
Yeah. 18-5 under their last 23 road games. I do like the under in the game. They're one of the worst spread teams in the NBA. 5th or 6th worst team. It's 8 games under 500. Numbers are just too big. You said it.
Insane numbers. And the problem is the public keeps jumping on them like a bunch of idiots. And it's crazy that they're 15-5 straight up. But it's not even like you could try to find a money line parlay friend because when you're laying – double digits, you're not going to get any value on it anywhere. So it's a really tough team to bet. That's why you got to go to team totals and alternate markets with Boston.
Mark,
how about Golden State, Sacramento?
Go ahead. Yep, ask me about that one. No.
Yeah, is this the ultimate buy low spot on the Warriors? I mean, what happened to that team that started out like 15-2? Like, how did we get here? I still haven't figured out yet, but. I don't know that the Warriors are bettable at this point in time. I mean, here's what I would tell you, right? I don't think they're built to win a shootout in a game with a total of 230. So if you have any faith in Golden State, I think there's more outs playing the under than anything else. You just look at Golden State again. Go look at some of their totals that you're seeing over the last 7 or 8 games. 217, 221, 222, 229.5, 217, 231.5. And that was against Washington, whose defense is god-awful. And then 225 against Boston. You got unders in 6 of the last 8 because they're not scoring. So the only way for them to do this is to hold Sacramento down. If you have any faith that you think the Warriors can cover this number, it's because the defense is winning out, and that's the way they stay close.
You got 1 minute. You got to give us, because we're probably not going to talk to you before the weekend. You got to give us the winner of the NFC Championship and the AFC Championship. You got 1 minute to make a case for each. Ready, set, go.
First of all, the chalkiest of all chalky teases in the world, just take the Eagles down to a pick and the Bills up to 8, knock yourself out. But that's look, I'm the only person who's been saying this. I don't know why more people aren't. The Commanders didn't win last week. The Lions lost. Ooh. And that translates to them not being anywhere near as good as the Eagles. The only reason the Commanders beat the Eagles during the regular season was because Jalen Hurts went out with a concussion in the first quarter, and some guy named Kenny Pickett, who's not an NFL quarterback, had to play quarterback for the final 3 quarters. So, sorry, Pittsburgh. I know. I get it. But the point is that even at that, they only won the game. I think it was like 35-33 at the end or some crazy number. The Eagles' defense is really where the focus is. The Eagles are going to win this game. Now, let's get to the important one. The Bills are winning on Sunday. Make no bones about it.
Say it again.
Take it on the money line. This is not a Chiefs team that is capable of beating them. One piece of advice for Sean McDermott, whose pucker factor is through the charts in games like this. Ooh. Take whatever points you can get, because here's the deal. If you get to 24, you know what Kansas City can't do? Get more than that.
All right, there you go, Mark. Great job. Do it again soon.
They have a lot of hopes, and they thought last year they were turning the corner. Even early this year, they start turning the corner, and then you lose 13 games in a row.
Edmonton chipped away. Got a late goal, won the game 4-3. I felt like they dominated the third period. They moved the puck on that power play. It was an exceptional hockey game. It went over the total.
Only on SportsGrid.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks again, Mark Zito, joining us there for a couple of minutes, giving us some picks in college basketball and in the NBA. Cal's leading scorer, I just saw a little note on TV, not playing tonight, so his Cal pick might not be too good. But I know what is good. Our Black Cloud play of the day. Well, I had two really under serious consideration, and it's almost a toss-up because I do like both, but I'm going to side with the L.A. Clippers and Boston Celtics game. Let's go under. Forget about who's winning. Under is the play. Clippers, 11-4 under their last 15. They're one of the best under teams in the NBA the entire season. Celtics, I mentioned it with Mark, 18-5 under their last 23 road games, including 10-2 their last 12, and then 8-3 under their last 11 games overall. They are not the scoring machine. And the numbers, it's not that they're not scoring a lot, but the numbers are just so ridiculously high with some of these teams, and the Celtics being one of them, that the games go under. So this one's a modest one, 219. But I don't think they're getting to 220 points. I just don't think so. So give me the under 219, 218.5. If that's where it is, depending on where you do your shopping, Celtics and LA Clippers, Dave.
What was the other one? What was the other play
under
that
Gold
you were
State?
Golden
State, Sacramento.
Okay.
I like the under on that one,
Okay.
too. Yeah, both of them.
Okay. All right. So that's good. So we like two unders late. Wow. What just happened? Did Florida just hit a buzzer beater? Florida just hit a buzzer beater to win the game. 70 to 69. They hit a buzzer beater, yeah. I turned away. I was looking and talking to you, and yeah. So shot at the buzzer.
Wow.
Wins it. Florida wins 70 to 69. So they came back. That was good. They were trailing South Carolina. It loses a game. Yeah. So
I got a minute left. Hold on. I got a minute left.
What are you watching?
Kansas 72, TCU 61.
Uh-huh.
A minute left, and don't foul. What are you doing fouling? You're down 11, you dope.
Foul.
You're not going to make an 11-point comeback? All right, they didn't call the foul. Ooh, the ref's got the under. The ref's got the under. He whacked him in the arm. Ball went flying up about 50 feet in the air. They didn't call the foul. Just keep on dribbling, boys.
When you're reffing, how do you do it? Do you give them a chop? Do you go to the table and give them a chop?
What was the total? You remember? What was the total?
Relax. Oh, when you call a foul, 2 minutes, do you give them a chop? What do you do when you go to the scorer's table? What's your motion? You give them one of these?
Yeah.
Two shots.
On the arm. 2 shots. Yeah. Kick them out of the game. I think they're dribbling it out. How about that?
Game.
74-61. Kansas, another under hits. 16-2.
Wow, the game
I think it was 137.
Close 136, Wetzel. Whoa, you got under the total. Whoa,
we got it by 1. Take that, boys in Vegas.
How about that?
Take that. Yeah. I'm having a great night college basketball-wise.
Devils lead 4-1. Devils.
Yeah, the hockey
Bruins
stinks. Yeah. 16-2 under now is Kansas. 16-2 under. That was a big one because TCU was like an under team, so I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So we're gonna have we're gonna have Brady Cannon coming on next. He's gonna talk about some golf. The golf started today. They made a good decision to. Well, so we can see you. We can't hear you. We can hear you too. You can't hear us.
You guys there?
Get that? Yeah, we're here. We're looking good. We sound good. I got it. We'll take it home when we get him back. We'll have Brady Cannon next segment, and he's going to talk about the golf. The golf moved Wednesday to Saturday, so we'll get an update from that. And word on the street is that Brady Cannon has a college basketball future that we may be interested in talking about. So that'll be good. And we got to get Brady's opinion, early opinion at least, on a Wednesday for the NFL conference championships between, AFC and NFC championships. Big week ahead. It's cold in Vegas, but it's not as cold as wherever you guys are watching this show at. We appreciate you guys being here. Hour number 2 coming up right here on Sports Grid. It's in-game live. I'm Dave Sharapan. Wetzel might be back. Brady Cannon will be here. See you guys in a couple minutes.
You know, they have a lot of hopes, and they thought last year they were turning the corner. Even early this year, they start turning the corner, and then you lose 13 games in a row.
Edmonton chipped away, got a late goal, won the game 4-3. I felt like they dominated the third period. They moved the puck on that power play. It was an exceptional hockey game. It went over the total.
Only on Sports Grid.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because Scotty, he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on Sports Grid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Welcome back in-game live, game day, hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. Nice little play. We got a little NBA, we got a little college basketball, we got some hockey, and we got some golf starting a day earlier than normal because of the NFL, believe it or not. So with that, let us bring in our guy. He covers everything. He knows it all. Our good buddy, see him all the time here on Sports Grid, Brady Cannon. What's going on, Brady? How are you tonight?
I'm great, guys. Good to be with you. Yeah, golf on a Wednesday. You got to love it. We finish up on Saturday at gorgeous Torrey Pines in La Jolla, California, and then we roll into Conference Championship Sunday. It's a beautiful thing.
Do you like Torrey Pines? I know you play golf. Have you played Torrey Pines, BK?
I did a handful of times. This is a kind of a classic story, Dave. I went to University of San Diego, the Toreros, right?
Uh-huh.
So as a student and as a resident, after 2:30 in the afternoon, you could walk Torrey Pines for $7. Wow. And I'm kicking myself because I only played like 4 times or something. I should have played it every week. But yeah, it's a special place, man. Gosh, it's gorgeous. You know La Jolla, Del Mar, right up the street. It's a great spot. My guy, Ludwig Oberg, he's out to a big lead right now, but he played the easier course. So I wouldn't get too excited about this guy running away with it just yet. When a guy goes so low one day, typically they come back to earth the next day, and he's also going to be on the much more difficult course. So, I wouldn't go run to the window. He's like plus 175 or something like that at this point. I would look at the guys that played the South course today, the much more difficult course that did pretty well, that are going to now go over to the easier course on Thursday. And then after that, the Friday, Saturday is all on the tougher South course. But you've got Hideki Matsuyama shot a nice round on the South course today. He's at 6-1. Lee Hodges at 22. And this is an interesting one here. I'm on Tony Finau pre-tournament. He was all over the map today, but finished even par on the harder South course. If he goes over to the north side tomorrow and lights it up and shoots 6, 7, 8 under par, all of a sudden he's back in the mix. And right now you can get Tony Finau at 75-1.
Wow. Why do they do that, Brady? I mean, it's so goofy. I mean, first of all, it's goofy that you got to play different courses, and then you're playing different courses different days, and then you're playing different courses which seemingly one is so much easier than the other. I mean, it
used to be even worse,
right?
Well, they play 3 out of the 4 rounds on the South course. So basically, I don't really handicap the North, okay? But I'm saying for in-game wagering type purposes, you got to factor that in to how you want to deal with things here. The North course plays about 2.5 shots easier than the South. It used to be even more drastic. It used to play 4 or 5 shots easier, but Tom Weiskopf came in 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, redesigned the North and closed that gap. And it's, like I say, about 2.5 shots different now. But still, as evidenced by Oberg, shot a 63 on the North today. What's he going to do on the South, where they played a couple of U.S. Opens? He might shoot over par tomorrow.
Are they going to play the Riviera? They're not going to play the Genesis.
I think they're going back to Torrey.
So that's
I think they're going to. The rumor
right?
is,
Okay.
yeah, and I think it might have even been confirmed today. I didn't read the story, but I saw something. I think which would be basically a month from now, and it's a shame. I mean, Riviera, Pacific Palisades, that is maybe my favorite golf course on tour all year. But Torrey ain't no slouch, and I think they're going to come back here and play the Genesis at this place.
All right, so who do you still ultimately like to win the whole thing, knowing what you just said?
Well, Oberg is going to be tough to beat. I mean, he's built himself a nice lead, but I probably, honestly, unless I was going to take a long shot with let's say, Finau or something like that, I'd probably wait to see what happens tomorrow and go from there, because then the rest of the way, you're only going to get the South course, the more difficult track. I think I'd want to know what happens tomorrow before I got back into the mix here.
Like it. All right, let's get into the mix in college basketball. Our producer told us in her ear, and you told us the break, that you're kind of looking and building up a little portfolio and things. And what is the deal with this college basketball futures play?
Well, it's something that I do every year. I am a huge college basketball fan, but I'm kind of like the general public, where I don't get involved too much in the day-to-day betting until after football's over, and sometimes not even until March. But I will always land on a handful of futures at the beginning of the season and just hope I make some good guesses and have some good prices coming into March, where I have some opportunity to monetize, hedge, what have you. Hopefully the brackets fall my way and all that stuff. And I've had some success in the past, but this year, one of the teams in action tonight in a big game, Texas A&M at Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I saw laying 3.5, 3 or 3.5. I kind of like the Aggies getting the hook there. Really good matchup. We know how hard it is to win on the road in conference play. But I do have a futures bet on the Aggies to win it all, and it looks like I have a pretty good price. I checked the prices just before I came on today, and I've got 70-1. And here locally, Dave, at Circa, I saw 65. So a little better price there. But we know Buzz Williams, a heck of a coach. They've got a great defense. They are the best offensive rebounding team in the country. I just want to I've got 6 futures. North Carolina, that one's a little shaky. A&M, Michigan, Marquette, Arizona, and Oregon. And Oregon, this is the 15th ranked team in the country. I got them at 150-1. I'm just hoping that all my guys get to the dance, and then we see if we can make some money from there.
No Dookie Pukies, who are now down to 440 as the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, you know what? It's hard to say they don't deserve it, man. Boy, they look awful good. And, Coach K, no Coach K, doesn't matter. Duke's still Duke. And, and now in Ken Palm, they have overtaken Auburn as the number one rated team in Ken Palm's rankings. So, that says something right there. With all these teams that I listed, they're basically all in the North Carolina's been, back and forth. But for the most part, these are all in the top 30 in the Ken Pom rankings. So I feel pretty good about that.
All right. Speaking of feeling good, you got about 2 minutes for the biggest weekend, the last football weekend of the year, other than the Super Bowl.
I think the best weekend, Dave,
first.
right?
I don't know. I love the divisional round only because there's 4 games and they're usually 3 out of 4 are usually pretty good. I think we got 2 monsters here though. Like it is cancel everything, watch the games, be involved, however you got to do it. What do you like? NFC Championship first, AFC Championship second. What do you like?
Well, I feel that I'm on the very much of the recreational or the popular side, but I've teased it. And, I'm not necessarily teasing through great numbers to get Washington to 12.5, but really, like to use a horse racing team, I'm kind of keying Buffalo. Getting Buffalo to 8.5 is the play. And then adding the other leg, I didn't want to go down with Philadelphia. Rather, I went up with Washington. There's a lot of talk about the Commanders now, what will be their 4th road game in a row. Going back to 2013, there's been 5 teams in the playoffs that have landed on their 4th road game in a row. They've all lost, but only one of them has lost by more than 7 points. And oh, by the way, in the 2 divisional matchups, San Francisco in 2013 lost to Seattle by 6. San Francisco again in 2021 lost to the Rams only by 3. So here's another divisional matchup. And I don't think that 4th game on the road necessarily matters. I think the line is right, 4, 5, 6 points, but I'll go ahead and move it all the way to 12.5. No team has ever lost by more than 11 after that 4th game on the road in a row. So I like my position there with the teaser.
All right, there you go. Brady Cannon. Great job, Brady. We'll do it again soon.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Hour number 2. Can we get another miracle on the ice? Not the one, back in with the Russians and the United States. How about 1980? How about one last night, kind of repeating itself? Remember last night? Let's harken back 24 hours ago when the San Jose Sharks were leading the Nashville Predators. Not 2-1, not 3-1, not 4-1. How about 5-1?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the Preds come back, scored 6 unanswered. They not only win, they cover the puck line as well, and they win 7-5. So I bring that up now because we have a team that's actually playing really good hockey. So I'm not going to put them in San Jose's class, Dave. But we got Columbus 3-0 over Toronto in Toronto. Late second period, final seconds, as a matter of fact. They're 40-1. Toronto is 11-1. Last night, Nashville, I saw was high as 12-1. So can we get a little monkey see, monkey do? History repeat itself. Maple Leafs rally from 3-0 down. Can they win?
Can I do a Wetzel? I don't think so. I don't think so. I wouldn't. I mean, you want to take a shot? Let's take a shot. Let's take 2.5 goals plus 145. How about that?
Right.
Plus 145 plus 2.5 goals. But Columbus is playing really well. I don't think they're going to blow the lead. I don't think that the Maple Leafs will come back. Although those 3-goal leads are tough. 2 goals in the second period for Columbus. Only 5 shots on goal for Columbus. They got outshot 9-5. Don't go into a shell, boys. You go into a shell. They haven't had a power play yet. They're getting out hit, outshot, out everything. Boy, oh boy, there might be an onslaught coming. You might be on to something. I don't think Toronto gets it done, though, with the win. So, no, I wouldn't take the money line, but I would love the 2.5 plus 145.
The only problem with grabbing them and teams in this situation plus 2.5 is you need 1 to be covering the number, but in reality, you need 2. Because if Toronto scores to make it 3-1, they're pulling the goalie. And they're going to pull the goalie down, too, with, 4, maybe, I wouldn't say 5, but, a good 3 minutes left that you're going to have to survive an empty netter. So you really need 2 goals. Make it a 1-goal game. That's the problem, grabbing 2.5. But they're giving you $1.50 with that now. You say right. 145, 150. That's a pretty good number.
It's a good price.
Said Toronto dominated play. I'd take a flyer in Toronto at home. Why not?
Yeah,
it's funny. I asked you this yesterday, right? 3 teams that are kind of off the beat radar that are actually playing well now: Montreal, Detroit, and Columbus. We both said that we thought Columbus would be the one that's going to stop eventually. But I tell you what, man, they're playing great hockey. And they're underdogs. They're the perfect storm. They really are. They're not going to get any respect, and neither is Detroit or Montreal, especially Columbus. And yet all they do is win on the road, even against good teams, like Toronto.
I think the real measurement, I mean, we used to do this, is really check the road record. And if they're continuing to fight and play competitive on the road, the home games will take care of themselves more often than not. It's the road ones that you go, wow, this team's for real. They're not going away. So, again, going into Toronto and winning 3-0 after 2 periods is a really good effort. We'll see if they close it out. Speaking of closing things out, the Pistons are up 94-75, end of the third quarter against the Hawks. I don't think that game's going over the total. Scott, 227 in game. Suns 84, Brooklyn Nets 70. Fourth quarter just started there. So that's a nice 14-point spread. The Grizzlies are up 30 at the half against Charlotte. That in-game number is 28.5. Looks like a football spread with 2 good college team and a bad college team. More importantly, that total's 243.5. And the Rockets, 61-53 against Cleveland. Now laying 4.5, which we said before the game, right? There'll be opportunities to take and lay. So you can take Cleveland plus 4.5 right now. If you have any tickets on Houston, have a nice little middle. Cleveland brings that game back, don't they? I think they'll yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah, I would think so. I tell you what's, 231.5. Cleveland also, forget about them winning and even covering, but they're also a monster over team. They are what, 15-4. I got the number here written down here somewhere. The Cadavers are 15-5. Over their last 20 games. So they're not scoring so far tonight. If they don't, make a little run here and put some points on the board, this would be the anomaly. This hasn't happened, this year. So 53 points at halftime. Over under is 229.5. So you're basically halfway there, and you had a low first half. I would think that would go over the 229.5. Unless Cleveland's just not, we've seen these NBA teams, they don't show up. Haven't seen it with Cleveland so much this year, but maybe this is just one of those dopey games. But I would take my chances with the over.
Okay. We'll see about that. We'll keep an eye on it. Zeno left us with Cal against Florida State. 8 minutes into the first half, Cal is up 17-10 against Florida State and laying 2.5 now, whereas pregame they were getting 2.5. So, and that totals up to 149.5. That's an ACC matchup. That's an ACC matchup. Florida State is playing Cal in Berkeley, and it's an ACC matchup. There's going to be a lot of nights like this. Man.
How about Washington playing Oregon tonight in a Big Ten matchup? You have two goofy teams, right? I mean, at least this one you got one, with Florida State. That one you have two.
And Miami
what
and
are the
Stanford,
budgets?
Right? Miami and Stanford. And that's coming up tonight. That's a get-back game for a lot of people. 8 o'clock tonight. Miami at Stanford. Stanford laying 10.5. And another ACC matchup. Strange.
What are the budgets? Now, basketball, you don't have that many players. But still, when you start throwing in all the trainers and assistant coaches and 15 to 16 players, you're probably traveling with 25 people. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. All right, more coming up in Game Live.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott Dave searching for some winners. NBA, NHL, and college basketball tonight. One of the games I did like, we talked about it earlier. Let's see how well they're doing. And that was Ole Miss versus Texas A&M. Up 15-7 early on. Not bad. Now laying 7.5. Over under 137.5. I didn't think Ole Miss was going to lose at home. I mean, it's still early, but got Utah State at home, nationally ranked, losing to Nevada early on, 11-7. Laying the Aggies actually laying 3.5 still, even though they're trailing. That's not too bad. Kansas State, a double-digit dog, or roughly pretty close to it. At Baylor, leading early on, 11-10, midway through the first half. Yet 9.5, which is interesting still. Mm-hmm. And you said Baylor or Arkansas down 7 against Georgia, 15-7.
Terrible possessions. I get that game on. It's 15-8 with at the 11-minute mark. They're just under the 12 timeout. Their possessions are bad. They're not moving the ball. I don't know. It's that time of year where it's fun. When I was in the room and had 20 TVs in front of me or in the sports book, I was always watching hockey. But this is that time. Football's officially done. College is done. There's 2 games left. They booked themselves. We'll see what happens. You're watching a lot of college basketball, and I watch it without the sound, and just kind of see and watch the score flow and, do the in-game live show. I mean, we're here 5 days a week, so you can really see it. And now I love this because we get to talk about it and make plays like right quick. But you can see which teams are, like Zeno said, kind of, I don't want to say ramping up. They're just better. And which teams are, I feel like, may not have hope. Like Arkansas is in big trouble. They really need to win a game against Georgia tonight at home, but they don't. It's like you probably see it sometimes when you're reffing. When they throw a bunch of kids together on a team and say, go play basketball without practicing and without plays, it's bad basketball. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Listen, this is a bad year to be flipping from Kentucky to Arkansas, with the SEC being so good.
Right.
They'll find a way to win a game here or there, I'm sure, in conference play. But this is not. But, as we said during the break, okay, now you go back to the administrators and say, give me some money. I can't perform miracles here. No sense bringing me in if we're not going to go out to the Arkansas local community and go bring in, 5. It's amazing what these kids are getting now. I mean, forget about $1 million. That's like, you can't even knock on a door for $1 million. It is so bonkers what is going on in college sports right now. I mean, I don't know. There was one female judge that said, you know what? You could pay players. Look it up. That's who did it. One judge. It's nuts. So St. John's by 6 in overtime over Xavier. 30 seconds left. I got that game on.
So now the original line closed
back in play.
Right? Yeah. It's literally back in play. It was 40-30 Xavier at the half, and St. John's outscored them 35-25 in the second half to go to overtime. And now they're up 10-5 in overtime, 77 to 70 now. Oh boy.
No.
Oh boy. I mean, if you had Xavier, you had the right side, and you may not get to the window. Those ones hurt.
Would you foul if they don't hit a bucket here, down 7? Are you going to foul with 20 seconds left? That's the question.
Probably. Right? Yeah.
Oh, they called a bailout foul. Oh, the kid was falling out of bounds for Xavier. I'm assuming they're in the bonus, right? He should be going to the free throw.
Yeah.
Yeah. This kid had no shot. No shot at all. They called a foul.
How many times do you dribble the ball when you call foul and you get ready to give it to a kid on the line? You dribble it once, like do you throw it down and then bounce pass it to him? How do you give the person the ball at the free throw line?
I don't know. I never really thought about that. One thing I can tell you I've never done is shoot a bucket. It's kind of like my personal. I refuse to shoot
missed
a shot.
That's why.
No,
You missed.
I just, I'm a professional. You've never seen an official shoot a basket, right?
Even during a timeout?
Oh, especially during the time. No layup, no jumper. I could maybe dunk.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Oh, the pains of gambling. I feel for you. If you had Xavier tonight, and I love playing Big East underdogs. Final from the Garden in overtime. St. John's 79, Xavier 71. It lands on 8, depending on where and when, more importantly, Dave, you did your shopping, determine whether it was a winner, loser, or maybe you push somewhere in between. Kid missed a jumper. You should have just drove to the bucket, final possession, after St. John's made both their free throws. And he took a little pull-up jumper, missed, and that was that.
Yeah. You got friends in the business, my buddy Timmy Murray. He does shows and stuff. He said it many times. I've heard Stanford Steve say it, another friend of mine, and say, like, overtime is where dogs go to die. Man, that was a tough spot. I mean, you really were leading the whole game. You had the right side. You're getting 7. You lose by 8. Welcome to gambling on college basketball or NBA basketball. That's a tough one. That one's going to leave a mark. But, what do? We just roll on, put some stuff in a backpack, go for a hike, maybe go back out on the boat, round 2.
Go fishing.
Load up some rods and
throw a couple more logs in the fire. Throw a couple more logs in the fire. Right? That's it.
Bounce right back. Yeah.
Got a nice little winner on Valpo tonight. Gave out to the podcast crew.
Look at that.
By the way, I got a nice little listener who joined the crew. I forget his name, but welcome aboard.
Okay.
So
excellent. That's good.
Yeah. Valpo was getting 14 against Drake, 9-1 against the spread last 10 against Drake, and they lost by 10. 81-71. Cha-ching,
Okay.
cha-ching. Yeah,
Cha-ching,
another winner.
cha-ching.
Game at St. Louis LaSalle under. That's going way under. That was in the 150s. It's now 114.5, 49-35.
Yeah, see,
St. Louis is
everybody
a weird
remembers
team.
when the games fall around the number, they don't remember those. Like that's a
Yeah.
complete miss, right? That's
Complete
one
miss.
that's 30 points off, just completely off. It happens.
Yeah.
That's good. You were on the right side of it though. You were on the under, you said?
Yeah, I was. You know why it's St. Louis. St. Louis, they're a weird team. Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3, 4, 5, they were a monster under team, and they played all their games in the 50s, right? Then the coach all left and everything, and now they play games in the 70s, but their number is so big because last year they were an over team that their games are all going under. But they don't play games like they're playing today anymore. They play in the 70s. But they're one of the best under teams in college basketball out of 330 whatever teams. They're near the bottom as far as overs are concerned because the numbers are so high. But tonight, it just happened to be an old St. Louis Billikens game. So that worked out well. How about Bruins doing? Oof. I know, right?
No, I'm not mentioning
4-1
that
still.
game right now. Yeah, I don't want to mention that game. We need that.
Under
we need
5.5 back in play.
Don't say it
Back
out
in
loud.
play.
Don't say it out loud. You
Would they
just said
pull
it
a
out loud.
goalie? I don't think
No.
they'd pull the goalie down 4-1,
No.
right?
No.
Not without scoring.
No.
Yeah.
Stop saying.
If it was 4-0 and you scored, then they would. But 4-1, it's been 4-1 for an hour and a half now. So
Long time. Yeah, 4-1.
right.
Long time. Right.
what do you like
Totals go up,
starting here in a little
5.5.
bit? Colorado, Winnipeg. Any thoughts on Jets, Avs?
Tough game.
Yeah.
First thought was to take the plus and take Winnipeg. It is. I haven't confirmed yet that it's Hellebuck, but it's Blackwood confirmed for the Avalanche. Boy, that game the other night, the Avalanche were up 3-0 and lost the lead and lost to Edmonton 4-3. I was so impressed with the Avalanche
Oh, I know.
in the first period and the way they skate and the way they move the puck. And I thought, okay, yeah, we're getting right. But I don't know. I had Todd Furman on this week on BVB, and he was talking about Winnipeg being not deep right now. So giving up more goals. There it is right there. Jets are 5-1 to the over in their last 6 road games. Perfect segue to that. And Avalanche at home have been really good. What does that say? 16-6 their last 22. Wow. Versus the Jets. Okay, so that's a Wetzel head-to-head trend. I like that. All right. You like a side in that? I think the game goes over.
Yeah, is it 5.5 or 6.5? Let me see.
Right.
Probably
now.
6.5, right?
No, there's some 5.5s. Some 5.5
Yeah?
depending on where you shop. Yeah.
I'd take the 5.5 over.
Okay.
Yeah, FanDuel's got it like minus 118, which isn't bad.
Yeah, it's fair.
I think
Fair
a crack
price.
of that. Yeah,
Okay.
right. Got to figure Colorado's going to come out flying after blowing that lead the other night. Colorado's a weird team. You know, when they're on, man, they look like they're the best team in hockey, right? You see why everyone's still on Colorado, right? But then you turn the channel and you go back, you watch a half hour of Colombo, and you go back, and all of a sudden it's a tie game because they blew a 3-0 lead. I mean, it's like, what the fudge? You know, what happened?
The Columbo reference is outstanding. I got to tell you, last night I fall asleep, and SportsGrid's on when I fall asleep. So I wake up this morning, and I hear your voice, and I think I'm dreaming. I mean, we talk a lot. We talk on the air here every day. So it turns out I left the TV on, and you're doing Pro Football Full Circle on SportsGrid
today.
on TV. Yeah. So in the morning, and I was like, wait a second. I literally thought I was talking to you and doing the show and startled, and you and Kurtz were breaking down the football. Do you have a strong opinion about either game this week? I still don't really.
I do in the AFC. I want to see Hurts, status. He's going to play, but I don't know what I'd really find out realistically, but that bothers me, that game. Now that the AJ Brown disappearing these last couple of games bothers me. Hurts not playing well. Yeah, he's reading a book. Yeah, read War and Peace. How about reading football 101? You know, the idea for a wide receiver, get open and make a catch when the ball's thrown right to you. So that Eagles team scares me, you know. But I'm convinced it's going to be Kansas City. Until someone beats Kansas City. Yeah. Buffalo is going to go into Kansas City and win that game. Really?
Yes.
Really?
Why is it so hard to believe? Why not?
Because they always find a way to lose. So why should this year be any different? They played kind of a Super Bowl last year. Now they got to hop on a plane, fly to Kansas City. I get it. They're going to be up for the game. Don't get me wrong, but I got to see it.
How does the game play out to the total, the Kansas City-Buffalo game? Because, I mean, you heard Zeno talking about Kansas City don't really score 24 points. They really don't. So, I mean, the total's 47.5 or 48, which would be, you know, if you're just 24-24, if it's 48 or 24-23, the line's 1, 2. That's where you come up with the number. But I actually think if it goes over, Kansas City wins. I think Buffalo really does have to kind of play them. Yeah, I think.
See, I thought
otherwise
that
they
about
got to have a drive.
Baltimore, and I was wrong about that. You know, I thought you know there's no way Buffalo wants to get in the shootout with the Ravens, and you know they were able to score and win. I agree with Mark. It's like, don't leave points on the field. You keep on scoring. Take the field goals. Make Kansas City put 24 on the board because they've not been able to do that realistically. So, and here's another thing. Just double team Travis Kelce. I don't care. It's almost like a boxing one in basketball, right? Remember that? You play one guy one-on-one, and then the other four play in his zone. Same thing with Kelce. He's the only guy that catches the football. Put two guys on him, and then everyone else play his zone if you want to. Let him throw the ball to everybody else. If Travis Kelce has 7 receptions for over 100 yards like he did last week, then Buffalo score.
We jinxed.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Dave taking over top of the hour. Gabe and Cam. Cam joined us now. Talk a little hockey, a little golf, see how his picks are doing. A little NBA, maybe some college basketball as well. What's going on, Cam? How are you tonight?
Pretty good, Scott. I'll tell you something, though. Like, we talked about Ludwig Aberg, this guy. Like, I watched him in the TGL, and we're like, ooh, he looks good. And what a start to this tournament. The guy didn't bring his A game, and he's, like, literally, like, 9 under. I'm going to tell you, like, you don't see many players, like, we talk about Tiger Woods, and we talk about, like, the best. This guy was 10 to 1. We're like, me and Brady are like, no, he looks good. He looks good. Like, do we need a little bit more? No, we don't. Like, it's one of those things in golf, like, it's like Scheffler before he hurt his hand on the plate with ravioli. Like, sometimes, like, and he was 5 to 1. Now you're getting this guy at, like, 10 or 12. It's like, we always know what the problem is. Gabe was right. He goes, the problem with golf gamblers is they always want more. They always want more than whatever, right, Dave? Because there's so many guys in the field. And sometimes you just got to put a line through guys and, like, limit it to, like, 20 instead of 60 and go, you know what? Then we can start working from there because this kid's special. Like, I'm going to tell you, Wetzel, I've never seen a guy like this before. Like, I'm watching the golf today. I'm like, he's not even, like, playing well. He's 9 under. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's over. But, like, we have him top 10. Like, when I did my picks with Carver, I'm like, man, this guy is so damn good. You know what I'm saying, Dave? It's like one of those things, like, we always, as bettors, we're always looking for more. We're greedy. We're greedy people. Why don't you just take it? Take it. You know?
It happened all the time with Tiger and happened sometimes with Phil. There was always a reason to, like, get against the guy or pick, you know, like it wasn't
not him
enough
to win or just a matchup or something like that. You know what I mean?
Too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
We took an in-game Maple Leafs plus 2.5. It looks like the Blue Jackets just scored 4-0. What? Not a good bet. That
my brother's kid texted me tonight. He goes, "Dewan Hillaby is the Leafs goalie tonight in my fantasy league." I go, "No, I don't know what it is, Dave. I'm going to tell you something, and I'd say a lot of really wrong things on the show. I don't know what it is about Columbus. The Leafs always play bad against Columbus, usually in Columbus, but you're telling me the Columbus is leading now 4-0? Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's just one of those situations, like certain teams have certain teams. Wetzel, good call by you on Florida. They came back, but I was even telling Rents, I'm like, oh, don't worry, pal. The Sabres, they'll score the first goal. We'll take them in the first period. They'll come back and gag, and they did, but they actually came back and won for a change. I don't know what it is against Columbus. The Leafs have some kind of Columbus owns them. Dave, that's just saying that Columbus owns you, like and like against one of the best teams in the league. Like the Leafs never beat Columbus. I don't know what it is. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no justification. Just Scott. Remember the last time the Leafs played Columbus? Didn't they lose like 6-2 in Columbus? Like Columbus owns these guys.
Yeah.
Right, Dave?
Yeah.
Remember I told you? I go, it doesn't make any sense, but it does, because I'm going to tell you, I wish I bet on Columbus, but I don't bet against the Leafs. But oh my God, the Blue Jackets.
Look at this trend. Vinny's going to pull up this trend tonight on the Kings and the Panthers because Scott used this as his Black Cloud play of the night. The Kings are 12-2 in their last 14 home games versus the Panthers. So Wetzel's involved in this game with the Black Cloud. Not that I'm sorry, it's the same game parlay. Pardon me. Yeah. Sorry, Vinny. It's the same game parlay. It didn't work out yesterday, but he got Kings and the under and Kopitar to get an assist. What do you think about this hockey game tonight? Late night hockey for the West Coast.
I got to tell you, Dave, you're a Penguin fan. They beat the living crap out of the Kings.
They did.
Like I'm like, and it was like we were on the air. Me, Gabe, and Mateus. And Mateus is a Clipper and Kings guy, and we're like, they're not coming back. Like the Penguins are embarrassing these guys. The Kings are a very weird team. You know what I like to do with the Kings? Take them as dogs on the road, and I don't like to lay them favorites at home. They do win sometimes, but you guys know, like it's really weird with that team. They're just like the books love to put them as favorites at home, and I'm like, nah. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know. What do you think, Scott? What do you think about this game? I'll listen to you. Good call by you on the Panthers last night. They were down early. They came back, but the Kings are one of those teams I love. No, Dave, here's my example of the Kings. Plus 130 in Boston, sold. Plus 120 against like the Devils, Rangers, sold. But at home, there's something about these guys where I don't like to lay it. I'd rather take it. That's my opinion.
They do win. I mean, they're 23-7. Their last 30 at home, 11-2. Including last night or 2 nights ago. So
you know what I mean, though, Wetzel? Like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my mind, but I love taking them as big dogs on the road. But like, what do you guys think about this game? Like, I don't know if I trust them.
I think LA. I don't think LA is going to lose back-to-back home games.
I kind of agree.
Dave's got the King. There you go. Look at that album. Huh?
I kind of agree.
Kings, yeah.
What about the Jets? The Jets, the last game they played against Utah, they were horrible. They looked terrible. Absolutely junk. And now they're what are they tied with Colorado right now?
Yeah, no score. Yeah, no score.
Wouldn't you guys rather have Colorado at home minus 120? I would.
That's exactly what we talked about. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys. Like, it's just like, I know the Jets are having a great year, but I just can't do that. NBA basketball, God, I love the Rockets. Like, they're so good to me. This team is baffling, like how good they are. It's just absolutely shocking. Memphis, anything in college? What are we doing in college here?
Miami and Stanford are playing. I have no opinion on that game. I thought it was too high, but I mean, how can you bet Miami with what's Wetzel say? Any shekels or American dollars? I mean, you can't.
Yeah,
bet,
here's Wetzel.
You can't
with
bet
my
Miami against
American money. With my American money, I will not. No, that's what I love about Wetzel. I don't care who. Like, if it's tokens at the arcade. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do, Wetzel? Like, that's the whole scenario here. I got to be honest. I'm with you.
Under Celtics. You like the under, right?
Yes, I do. I do.
That's the black cloud.
And I love your play. Let's all ride the Kings together, and maybe we'll be jesters, but maybe we'll be royalty. Let's do it, fellas. LA Kings in a rebound spot. Get it done.
There you go. Sam and Gabe, top of the hour. Thanks, Gib.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Thanks again for Cam Stewart joining us. He'll take over top of the hour. We'll say I want to pass along one score. We kind of hit this one on the button. Final from Brooklyn, Suns 108, Nets 84. So we were kind of hoping, like we said, buy in over at one. If it got to 190, it didn't. At least not when we were talking about a third quarter, maybe fourth quarter, but I don't think so. Right. So it lands at 192. So it looked like it was going to go over. It went up to like 202, 203 because the third quarter was halfway decent, 28-26. But you said it. These bad teams this year, it seems like they just used to be, okay, you'd have a high scoring, okay, the team stinks, but they'll score 30 points in the third quarter, and, they look respectable. Not anymore. Like, these bad teams, 16 points for the Nets in a game that wasn't competitive. It was not like it was a close game. They were down 16. They were down 20-plus points, and they still only scored 16 points in the fourth quarter.
16 points in the fourth quarter. Yeah, it's one of those situations where as we get to February and the Tankapalooza thing starts and teams that are bad continue to get worse and just lose by bigger and bigger amounts. We've been on before when teams lost by 50. So we'll see that. Brooklyn's one of those teams. I was on yesterday with Walsh. He has the Brooklyn Nets season win total over 21. And they're 14-30 now. And I said, okay. He said that looked good, early, but man, that's going to be a sweat the rest of the way. Like he'll be lucky to get over to 21 because it's going to be really, really, really close. They're not competitive in all the games. I got to ask you before we get out of here. You said you never shoot when you're officiating, but you said you could. Why? Like you're not during a timeout. You're under the hoop. You don't just throw it up for a little off the glass layup, like to show off a little bit. Let everybody know you don't do it? Okay.
Well, one, because that encourages others to do that. So then the kids come down from the stands, and now they want to shoot. So you can't tell them to get off the court when you're sitting there shooting. So, and it's kind of like my mark of like, if another official does it, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm better than you. There you go. Now, I'll look down upon you. So that's kind of my line in the sand. Yeah, officials are not, But that's the main reason. I don't want to encourage people coming down. And they do. The kids want to, they want to shoot. It's like you're not supposed to allow that because of insurance purposes and blah, 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 blah.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
So you're a real stickler for that stuff. I like it. Listen, when I was coaching and the official, the umpire would give me grief about like the kids, catcher's mask. There was a screw loose or something. I'm like, relax. It's going to be fine. Or the gate down the left field line was cracked open a little bit. He'd call time, stop everything, hold on. You got to go close that gate. Buddy, we're in the fifth inning. You haven't seen it? It's been like no one's touched it. Relax. You're that guy?
No, I'm not that anal. No, I'm not that anal. Mine is more just precautionary, just to make sure no one gets hurt, or I don't have 10 kids on the court shooting free throws. That's really the only thing. But there are officials that are anal. I mean, if you go by the letter of the law, you're supposed to do that. So, like during a timeout, right? There's certain spots on the court you're supposed to stand, believe it or not, during a timeout. If it's a 30-second timeout, there's a spot, and then if it's a full timeout, it's a different spot. But if I'm all the way at the other end of the court, I'm not going to go to mid-court and stand there when I got to inbound the ball over here. It's a 30-second timeout. We don't, but there are some guys that are sticklers like that.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. 100%. We're going to have to get a camera. We're going to have to get some video of you doing a game. Yeah. I think we have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to do. I don't know if we need a ref cam on them, Vinny. I don't know if we need that. I think we need you shooting it a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if we need that. Oh boy, and we mic them up. Can we mic Wetzel up? That's
mic
2
me up,
on the arm. 2.
That would be funny.
44. 30-second timeout.
Yeah.
I love it. I think we need to do that. I think people would want to see that. Maybe I'll come to New York and I'll do it. I'll sit in the stands and heckle you. Huh? Come on, ref.
Come out for the Super Bowl.
That was a
Come
foul.
out for the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Winnipeg or Colorado? Colorado?
Colorado. Yeah.
Let's go at it.
Go Kings.
Go Kings.